Today on News Channel 12, live at 1, WKU Restaurant Group makes some big changes on campus.
And later, we'll have information on a program for child immigrants.
Cool and breezy today, but I am tracking a gradual warm up on the way. I'll have that coming up on News Channel 12.
Live from the campus of Western Kentucky University, you're watching News Channel 12, where commitment makes the difference.
Good afternoon and welcome to News Channel 12 live at 1. I'm Haley Rader.
And I'm Allie House.
Last week we covered the renovations of the WKU Commons at the top of the hill. Reporter Carly Stone has more on how these plans changed in less than 48 hours.
That's right. WKU President Tim Caboni held a press conference on Tuesday about the soon-to-be WKU Commons at Helm Library.
Caboni announced the food venues that will be available in the fall at the Commons. These included some local restaurants such as Spencer's Coffee and Lost River Pizza Company. However, Lost River Pizza Company was dropped after tweets were shared with photos of the owner Keith Kaufman in blackface at a costume party.
So that year was the year that The Voice came out on NBC, and CeeLo Green was on there along with Christina Aguilera and a couple others. So I decided to dress as CeeLo, and my girlfriend at the time decided to dress up like Christina Aguilera for the costume party. Nothing was meant to be malicious. Never thought it would offend anybody. I would have never done it if I thought it would have offended someone. I wasn't used to the term blackface and really didn't even know what it was at that time because I've lived here in South Central Kentucky my whole life. You know, it wasn't a thing that you even talked about.
WKU Restaurant Group responded to the allegations by saying, quote, "We have learned that the local brand Lost River Pizza Company has some background that is inconsistent with our values. As a result, the WKU Restaurant Group has decided that the brand would not be a good fit within our restaurant portfolio," end quote.
But when the people from Aramark called me early this afternoon, they said that they had been contacted by the vice president who had been contacted by Dr. Caboni to reach out to me about it.
This isn't the first incident Kaufman has had on social media.
You know, it was one of those things that post went viral back in April of last year when I said, "Don't be a Karen," trying to be funny. And trying to handle a post that someone had posted where they didn't like their pizza, said it was too greasy, and I was trying to be funny, and one thing led to another, and the next thing you know, I'm being painted as being someone that I've never been in my whole life.
Lost River Company didn't seem to be affected yesterday after WKU's decision to drop them was announced. The restaurant was still busy last night. Kaufman believes that his small business will survive.
It's a lost opportunity for me and for the business. I'll be fine. This place won't suffer from it.
WKU Restaurant Group says that they are working to add another brand to the program and look forward to making that announcement soon.
Thanks, Carly. March is Women's History Month, and WKU recognizes women across campus that make a difference. One woman blazing a trail for others includes Melissa Bailey in the WKU Police Department. Bailey is now the new Public Information Officer at the WKU PD. Bailey served as the patrol officer for the WKU PD since October of 2018, with her career beginning in 2006 at the Bowling Green Police Department. As an alum, Bailey wants to give the WKU community a memorable experience, the same experience she had.
I hope to just serve our WKU community, to the best of my ability, and hope that they have a memorable and safe experience while in college.
Bailey's role at the department consists of many responsibilities, including media interaction, social media, and working with students. Bailey says she looks forward to getting to know WKU students through campus events. She says she wants to make them feel safe and connected.
WKU announces a new provost and a vice president of academic affairs. Robert Fisher, a dean of basic and applied sciences at MTSU, has been named WKU's next provost and vice president of academic affairs. According to an email from WKU President Tim Caboni, the change starts July 5th. Fisher holds a doctorate in evolutionary biology, and he previously was the chair of the Department of Biology at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, and associate chair of the Department of Biological Sciences at Eastern Illinois University. The current provost, Cheryl Stevens, retires from this role on June 30th.
Some of our News Channel 12 storm team went down to Mississippi and Alabama earlier this week to cover some tornadoes.
Here is a picture of some damages from Alabama, including a small tornado.
Now, Darius Mack joins us with a first look at our forecast. Darius, did we see any impact from this severe weather?
Thankfully, we didn't see any impact from the severe weather, but especially areas in the deep south in Mississippi and Alabama definitely got hit with the hardest severe weather just this week. We are calm and dry. We tracked the rain out of here, and we are now dealing with breezy conditions and cooler conditions as well. Currently 49 degrees here in Bowling Green, 48 degrees at Paducah. WKU Owensboro checking out as 49 degrees as well. So we're seeing those temperatures into the mid and upper 40s. I think we'll have a shot at getting into the lower 50s before the day wraps up. Those winds right now are breezy. We're seeing winds within the 10 to 15 mile an hour range and even 17 mile an hour breeze in Owensboro this hour. Those winds are flowing in from the north and east, so it's going to keep things rather cool and breezy for the day today. It is the last day of winter as spring comes into town as we head into your Saturday. Sunny and breezy conditions for the weekend and then a gradual warm up. I'm tracking that coming up in the Storm Center 12 full forecast.
Thanks, Darius. Coming up on News Channel 12, learn about how new immigration controversy in the United States.
And stay tuned, we'll have an update on the house fire we covered last week.
The Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, DACA, is a United States immigrant policy that allows certain individuals who meet program requirements to request DACA status. Individuals who are granted DACA are able to renew their grant and are eligible for work authorization. Kaden Gaylord reports on a recipient who's hopeful for the future.
Edith Cruz moved to the United States in December of 2006 and became a DACA recipient in 2016 when she was just 16 years old.
It takes an application process. It's very simple, but you have to meet with a lawyer in order to complete the application. They ask a lot of questions about how long you've been living in the United States, if you're going to school, and why you want to apply for DACA.
Cruz became a DACA recipient at the beginning of the Trump administration, an administration that changed its stance on the program throughout the years of his presidency.
My DACA experience during the last administration was very odd, and it was very concerning, not just for me, but for the whole community. It was a time of worrisome and being in limbo for our future.
In 2017, Trump ordered an end to DACA while allowing Congress 6 months to pass a bill to save it.
So it was a very scary time for everyone, not knowing if a lot of people would be able to continue living in the United States or have any means of income by being able to work here.
As with most political acts, there are many misconceptions about what DACA is and who is allowed into the program.
All DACA recipients are Mexican or Latino, which is a huge misconception because there are immigrants from all over the world that come to the United States seeking opportunity. There are many people who identify as Asian, African, or European that apply for DACA, and that's something that I hope that people understand, that not all DACA recipients or immigrants come from Latin America or specifically Mexico.
Cruz is hopeful that the new administration brings positive change for DACA and everything that is involved with the program.
I really hope that this administration looks at the DACA program and see how they can improve it by creating a new program that leads to citizenship. The thing about DACA right now is that you continue to renew your work permit and you're privileged to be here every 2 years. You really don't go anywhere else with this program.
Cruz also says it would be great for this administration to allow more opportunities for younger and older people to be able to apply to become a recipient. The newly formed Immigration Act of 2021 would help towards that goal of allowing DACA recipients to become citizens. For News Channel 12, I'm Kaden Gaylord.
For more information, visit your nearest United States Citizenship and Immigration Service office. Immigration is not only a hot topic on Capitol Hill, but also on the southern border. As the nation faces a flood of new migrants, President Biden has a message for those who may be following in their footsteps. Phil Mattingly has more.
I can say quite clearly, don't come.
President Biden with a loud and clear message to migrants making the dangerous trek to the U.S.
When we're in the process of getting set up, don't leave your town or city or community.
Biden attempting to halt the perception that he has played a role in the surge of unaccompanied minors at the border, as his Homeland Security Secretary echoed that sentiment on Capitol Hill and sharply pushed back on questions about why the administration won't call it a crisis.
A crisis is when a nation is willing
to rip a 9-year-old child out of the hands of his or her parent and separate that family to deter future migration. That, to me, is a humanitarian crisis.
The administration now facing more than 4,000 minors in Border Patrol custody for, on average, more than 120 hours, far longer than the legally allotted 72 hours. With CNN reporting that conditions include children alternating schedules to make space for one another, kids who haven't seen sunlight in days, all while going days without showers. Biden saying in an ABC interview policy solutions are being put into place, but making clear it will take time.
We have brought in HHS and also brought in FEMA to provide for enough safe facilities for them to get out of the control of the Border Patrol, which are not designed to hold people for long periods of time, particularly children, get them out of those facilities.
The immigration crisis threatening to swamp Biden's agenda, even as his administration gears up for its next big push, an infrastructure package.
Some Senate Democrats are hoping to pass an infrastructure bill by the end of September.
Here in Kentucky, the legislative session ends today. A number of bills have yet to be voted on, including one bill named after Breonna Taylor. News Channel 12 reporter Devon Taylor takes a look into how her name is still amongst those in Louisville.
In March of last year, she tweeted something else. The tweet said, "Take me to a place that I can't even imagine."
Protesters gathered on Saturday, 1 year after Breonna Taylor was shot and killed in her Louisville apartment by LMPD. Protesters took on the streets to honor the 26-year-old while also demanding justice.
Integrity, transparency, and strategy
are the few things that they wanted since last March when protests started to begin. Overwhelmed with sadness and disbelief, they knew it was time for change.
Because every day I wake up as a black woman, every day I wake up raising a black woman, I feel the pain of Tamika Palmer.
Black folks start to recognize how it's connected to beyond the police department, but how it's connected to the elected officials, how it's connected to policy, how it's connected to the apparatus of power. Folks in the city start to say, we have to do something different.
However, Breonna Taylor's story has pushed many people to fight for justice, so her name would never die. While others say they are prepared for the next level of justice for Breonna Taylor.
Now we're moving into position, we need to get people, we're getting people ready to, take Metro Council seats. We're getting people prepared for the next level of this.
And while there has been progress made, we still believe that justice has not been served in this case.
Protesters say that they are working on policies and looking forward to the advancement of the Breonna Taylor law. Many members of the protest community has joined the Louisville Mayor campaign. In Bowling Green for News Channel 12, I'm Devon Taylor.
Representative Attica Scott, the author of Breonna's Law, says there is no time for this legislation to make it through in this session, but is working with her colleagues to make changes to the bill. Coming up next in weather, Darius Mack has a full forecast.
And later in sports, Sam Bodeman has an update on the Hilltopper basketball team's madness in March.
I'm Darius Mack. Well, it is a cool and breezy day today. We finally wrapped up all of the rain that we've seen just for the past few days. Temperatures currently sitting into the mid and upper 40s right now. Check this out, 49 degrees currently in Bowling Green this hour, and also 49 degrees at the WKU Owensboro campus this hour as well. Pretty much temperatures into the upper 40s this hour, and we'll see temperatures into the lower 50s before we wrap things up for today. So we are seeing breezy conditions, winds from the north and east. That's all associated with an area of high pressure that will be influencing our weather as we go throughout the weekend. But we're seeing winds sustained at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. We even have a 17-mile-an-hour breeze currently in Owensboro this hour. We should expect those winds to calm down as we head later through the evening and into the overnight hours. We are dry locally on radar, and as we broaden the view for you for satellite and radar, I'm showing you this because we don't really have much going on across the country, as that's all courtesy of an area of high pressure that is just across much of the country. We have a few showers just into the Pacific Northwest, but all in all, we're keeping things rather dry. And we're also clearing those clouds out as well, which is certainly good news there. For today, we'll see highs into the mid-50s, or low to mid-50s, I should say. And we actually will be getting in with some of that sunshine as we go advancing ahead. The next thing we're tracking, especially as we head into the weekend, sunny conditions and even breezy conditions. We're going to knock those breezy conditions out of here, though, as we head through the overnight hours as well, and especially in for your weekend. Mostly sunny conditions, though, as high pressure will be in control as we go throughout much of the weekend. 53 degrees for the high today, mostly sunny conditions. Those winds from the northeast at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Some can locally see gusts upwards to about 25 to 30 miles an hour today. But for tonight, chilly conditions as temperatures are dropping down into the low 30s. So definitely want to bundle up and have that jacket in hand. And as we head into tomorrow, a gradual warm up as we'll see temperatures into the 60s with sunny conditions, winds from the east at about 5 miles an hour. We're going to take this for the next 12 hours for you as we are Storm Center 12. Those temperatures into the lower 50s by 5 o'clock, and then we'll see a gradual cooling trend back down into the 40s as we head later throughout the day, especially after sunset, with mostly clear skies overnight tonight. For your 7-day forecast, we're tracking that gradual warm up with those temperatures from 50s today and then potentially 60s into your Saturday. Don't forget, the vernal equinox officially begins at 4:37 a.m. Central Daylight Time on your Saturday. So we say goodbye to winter and hello to spring with temperatures into the mid and upper 60s, tracking rain chances later in the forecast, guys.
Thank you, Darius. Last Friday, we had breaking news about a house fire on Kentucky Street. News Channel 12 reporter Lauren Floyd has an exact update about what happened a week ago.
It may be sunny out here today, but just 1 week ago, smoke filled the air as this residential home was engulfed in flames. The Bowling Green Fire Department received a 911 call around 11:40 a.m. and was quickly en route to the scene. Public Information Officer Katie McKee says that no residents were inside the home at the time of the fire. Alex Bailey says she woke up finding out that her neighbor's house was on fire.
I was actually sleeping. My roommates came and woke me up and told me that neighbor's house was on fire.
McKee says the firemen entered the home and used the hose to extinguish most of the fire, but had to use chainsaws to vent the smoldering attic.
So they first got here and the whole half of it was on fire basically, and they couldn't get it out, so I think they sawed off half the side, you can kind of see, but and then they got on the roof and kind of went from that direction as well.
Around 40 firemen and personnel were on scene, and it took about 20 minutes to gain control of the fire. Bailey says her home has not suffered any damage.
Not at all. Just a bunch of people asking, hey, is everything okay? Are y'all okay? Is everyone next door okay?
The cause of the fire is still under investigation. McKee says in order to prevent a fire in your home, you need to put candles out before you leave, keep heaters away from flammable objects, and don't have too many objects plugged into one outlet. For News Channel 12, I'm Lauren Floyd.
For prevention and safety tips, visit www.bgky.org/fire and always call 911 in case of a fire emergency. Sam Bodeman joins us with a preview of sports.
That's right. I'll have the recent wins and losses of the Topper basketball team after the break. Toppers began their hunt for the NIT trophy against St. Mary's. The Tops played and beat the Gales back in 2018 in Diddle Arena. This time around, it was a nail-biter. The Toppers escaped with a 69-67 win after 2 clutch free throws from senior Tavion Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth ended up leading the team with 21 points and 3 rebounds. Junior Charles Bassey had 19 points and 11 rebounds, making it his 17th double-double this season. Despite falling short in the final game of the CUSA Championship, like Frampton mentioned, the Tops still earned several accolades for their play. Junior Charles Bassey and freshman Davion McKnight were both named to the Conference USA All-Tournament team for their performances last week in Frisco. Bassey also was named in the AP All-American Honorable Mentions and the USBWA All-American Third Team. The last Hilltopper to receive an All-American honor was Jim McDaniels in 1971. McDaniels was a member of the WKU Final Four team under head coach John Oldham. Bassey averaged 17 points, 11 rebounds for the Tops throughout the regular season. The WKU volleyball team captured their first win in school history over a Big 12 opponent as they defeated the West Virginia Mountaineers 3-1 a week ago. 3 Lady Toppers finished with a double-double to propel the Toppers to a 14-0 on the season. Senior setter Nadia Judene finished the match with 49 assists, 5 digs, 3 blocks, and 2 kills. Outside hitter Paige Briggs finished with 15 kills and 14 digs, and Lauren Matthews added 18 kills and 10 blocks in front of a socially distanced, sold-out Diddle Arena. The Lady Toppers will take on conference rivals at MTSU this weekend. That's all the time we'll have for sports. Tune in today at 3:30 on the Extra Point for full coverage, and follow us on Twitter at WKU Extra Point. Back to you ladies at the desk.
Thanks, Sam. After the break, Darius Mack will tell us if spring is here to stay. Welcome back. Darius Mack has the last look at weekend weather.
Yeah, we're tracking a gradual warming trend. Temperatures in the 50s today, 60s for Saturday. Don't forget the vernal equinox officially begins 4:37 a.m. Central Daylight Time. So we say goodbye to winter and hello to spring with temperatures in the mid-60s as early as Monday and then into the upper 60s, potentially near 70 as we head into next week, tracking showers and thunderstorm chances as we go later throughout the forecast period.
That's all the time we have for this afternoon. Thank you for making News Channel 12 your source for news.
Have a great night.